Hi, Park. I had to add some stuff to this Excel document because it's been a while since I've looked at this. It was way early on in the year, and to tell you the truth, it was kind of confusing to me too. I had to sit there and think about it. Nothing really changed other than I think I had 57% here, so that changed a little bit. Okay, so let me first preface this with this is assuming that the percent a student would get in our current scale class or a 70, 80, 90, 100 scale class is the same, which maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I think it's more likely to be the same if it's more of a quantitative class like math or something, but not necessarily. That could be also for social studies that just goes by points or something like that. And the teacher's not really thinking, is this a A student or a B student or something like that. So that's my first qualifier here. The second qualifier is this is just simply looking at statistically randomly um, a student getting a certain grade. Okay, so this is just kind of the likelihood of this happening. So I have to tell you those two things first. Okay, so what I did was I looked at the current scale that we have, and I put the 12 points, whether it's an A plus, 12, and all the way down to 0. And then here's the 70, 80, 90 scale, and again, 12 all the way down to 0. And then I saw that, okay, from 97 up to 100 on either scale, it's going to be a 12. And so that doesn't change. There's no change to the GPA, and it would be an A plus. However, from 96.5 to 97.4, in that range, on the old scale, it would have been 11, but on this new scale, that would bump it up to a 12. So that would actually be a change in their GPA of 1. So if a kid just randomly on either school, let's say they have the exact same things, percentages are the same, they'd have a GPA boost of 1. And I can do that all the way down through the scale. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick just a random student. I'm going to say, let's say we have a student that's taken 56 credits here. That's what this page is for, 56 credits in 4 years. And let's say they earn on average 82.5% in their courses. So I'm only going to be looking at 82.5% and above. On average, 50%, and we're assuming here that it's just randomly, their grades are randomly distributed throughout here, but it's somewhere in this range here. So you can kind of think of this as a dartboard randomly. They're just throwing darts and it's going to land in different areas. 54% of the time, those darts are going to land in the green areas, and that's going to be a boost to their GPA of 1 there. And the way I figured out 54% is because if you look at the size of this category and the size of this category and so on, if you add up all those green categories, that's 9.5%. And if you go from 82.5% all the way up to 100, that difference is 17.5%. Well, 9.5 is 54.3% of the 17.5. So 54% of the time, those darts are going to land in green. And so that means their GPA is going to go up. And it's going to go up by that 1/3 of the letter grade from a A to an A plus, or from an A minus up to an A, something like that. On a 4-point scale, that would correspond to an increase of 0.17 GPA over that time. So, okay, so how did I figure out that 0.17%? Okay, so what I did was I said, okay, we have 56 grades, and say we have a high level kid. We're just looking at those high level kids, above 82.5%. So ignore the, in fact, I'm going to turn these white so we can ignore those for a second. Okay, so we have this high level kid, and they're going to take 56 courses. Let's say none of their courses did they ever get a GPA boost. So they were never on that bubble. They would have an increase on their GPA of 0. And the way I did that was, okay, they had 0 courses that they got a boost. They would only get a boost of 1 possible out of 56, and so it's 0. Let's say it was 1 course they got a bump on. So they're on the bubble only 1 time and it went up. that would be still averaged over 56 courses to the 10th place. That would still average to 0. You have to get 3 of those bumps to raise it up to 0.1. And if they had 56 of those, let's say all 56 of those courses were actually on the bubble, then that would be an increase of 1 point out of 12. And so we're looking at, okay, so here's those first 3 courses. You know, they had no bubble grades. Here they had 1 bubble grade. Here they had 2. But still, you can see that GPA doesn't change. And here, if they had all 56, they would have got an increase of 1. Well, remember what I said. I said 54% of their grades would go up by a third of a point. So what I did was I found out where that 54% was. And where did I find that exactly? Okay, so 54% of 56, I forget what that is. Let me check that out real quick. 0.54 times 56, that's 30 classes. So they'd have to have 30 classes. So right here, 30 classes, that would be 0.5 out of 12. So for the 82.5%, that would be 0.5 out of 12. Well, if we go to a 4-point scale, you would divide by 3. So 0.5 divided by 3 gives me 0.17. So that's how I get that 0.17. So here I broke it down for all the different categories. So for instance, if you got a kid that's always top notch, they're always going to be up here, they're never going to get the benefit. Never. So there would be no change in their GPA, whether you go from our current scale or to the 70, 80, 90, 100 scale. Absolutely none. For the next tier down, which would be 97.4 to 96.5, yep, they get a boost. Over their 4 years, 56 courses, they would get a GPA boost of 1/10, 0.1. Here's for the next one, 0.07. And if you're wondering why are these kind of all random, well, it kind of depends, because sometimes you get a boost and sometimes you don't. It depends where you're at over here. Now, for the kids who does it help? It really doesn't help those top-notch kids. It helps the bottom kids more than anything else going to this scale. So let me go ahead and turn those dark again so we can see those. And I'm going to white these out here so we can ignore those for a second. Okay, so for those bottom level kids, notice that once you get below the 82.5%, you're always going to get a bump of at least 1. And in fact, as soon as you get down to this category of 73.4 to 72.5, you actually start getting boosts of 2 for each of those courses. That's pretty hefty. And so when we look at all 56 courses possible, let's say we have a kid that's on that bubble that could actually pick up 2 points. Well, let's say they took 1 class, or excuse me, they don't have any classes where they pick up. So let's say they have 0 classes where they're on the bubble to pick up 2. Well, if they're a bottom level kid, they're always going to be picking up 1, bare minimum. So it's a little bit different formula that I have to do to calculate how much that is. So they're picking up 1 at least. Let's say they were on the bubble 1 time. So out of 56 classes, they were on the bubble to pick up 2 points. Well, that doesn't help them much because it's average over 56 courses. They're actually going to have to, again, get 3 courses with a bump of 2 points to bring it up to 1.1. And then let's say they have 56 courses where they're always on the bubble to get 2 points. Well, that means their GPA change is going to be 2 points. So here it is again, and I've got it shown here. So again, 56 courses, and they always are on the bubble, so they're going to get GPA increase of 2 points out of 12. And here's the bottom level kids. They're just never lucky, and they're never going to get those 2 points. Okay, but they're always going to get at least 1 point because they're bottom level kids. They're down here. They're always going to be picking up at least 1. Well, again, for these kids, when you look down here, now I didn't highlight this, but they have a different percentage. That percentage is not always going to be 54%. It's going to be more or less every time. It's a little bit harder to calculate it. Um, and you can see that the percentage is going to be higher, and that percentages then increases. So again, if you're looking at those top level kids, they never have the shot of getting an increase by 2 points, but they do get the potential of getting an increase by 1 point. Down here, those bottom level kids, you can see they have a very high likelihood of getting 1 point, and then they also have a likelihood of getting 2 points. So for instance, those bottom level kids, they have a 77.6% chance of benefiting from this. They're either going to get 2 points or 1 point. Okay, and so that changes their GPA out of 4 is going to increase by 0.6. So we're really helping those bottom level kids. And so I guess you as administrators got to, you got to weigh whether this is something that we really need to do. I'd like to just point out that personally, those bottom level kids, it's not that they're not capable. They're definitely capable, and I think, personally, I think those kids, um, they do really well when you set the bar higher. I don't think it's going to do them any good to set the bar lower, personally. I mean, you're the principal, you're going to have to make a decision, but since I got the video here, I can say some stuff. Um, it's those top level kids we need to help, and I don't know how to do that. I mean, it's unfortunate we set these numbers to somehow they're equated with a student, with a child, and that's just not right. I don't know if we can change this buffer. So, we talked about maybe there's not just one salutatorian or valedictorian. Maybe it's a group of uh, magna cum laude and cum laude. Well, maybe we could do the same thing with the grading scale. Maybe the A plus goes down lower than the 96 and a half. Maybe it's lower than that. I don't know. It's just something to think. Here's another idea. What about the AP? Why is it? We've had the 1/3 of a letter grade that it bumps them, but maybe it should be more. Maybe we should start talking about that. Maybe it should be more. It's just ideas. Anyway, hopefully this video helps you understand. I haven't had time to do the 48 more in-depth analysis like I did the 56. If you want me to, I will.